So losing weight and getting shredded can sound and look like it's all butterflies and roses, when the majority of the health and fitness industry just talk about the positives. But there are some negatives that not many people talk about and that I want to address, as I believe they are vitally important for both your mental and physical health. So let's get into it. So firstly is that you can get severe body dysmorphia. So if you're someone that's on a bulk and you want to get down to a relatively low body fat, then you may start to feel small during the end of your cut. When you're on a bulk and a little bit more heavy, you have a thicker look, you're stronger, you're wider, more dense, and it's actually a good feeling. You feel big. Then during the cut, you start to lose some strength and size, and you can see yourself getting smaller week by week. And this can actually be a bad feeling if you're used to seeing yourself as a big guy. Now, if you're natural, by the end of your cut, your strength would have dropped by some amount, and you may have actually lost some muscle mass in the process, which is completely normal if you want to get sub 12% body fat. However, because you've lost a lot of size, you feel like you're small now, and although you will be shredded, you ultimately still feel small because you're used to having that thick look. And the more lean you want to get, the worse that feeling becomes, and eventually you may say to yourself you've had enough and you want to gain some size back. Problem is, at this stage you have to make a choice. Either you have to be mentally okay with being smaller and shredded, or you can gain a bit of size back, meaning that you have to lose some leanness. And this is where body dysmorphia kicks in, because on one hand you want to be shredded and you want to stay shredded, but on the other hand you want to have a bit more muscle and a bit more size. Honestly, it's never going to be enough what you have. You're always going to want to get stronger and bigger. This is what I have to deal with on a daily basis, and I'm constantly thinking, should I stay lean and try to not compare myself to anybody else, or should I bulk and gain a little bit of size and muscle mass back? You see, it's always a mental battle, and this is what a lot of people don't tell you about getting shredded. So if you know you'll be okay with losing some size, then go for it. Otherwise, I would suggest to stay in the 12 to 15% range for body fat and not get super diced. So next is your sex drive will drop. Now, this is a given as you're depleting your body with the nutrients it requires. That's why when bodybuilders are on prep, they have zero sex drive, because they're constantly depleting their bodies week by week. And once they get sub 10% body fat, they end up on low or very low to no carbs. So their body is completely depleted. I actually competed in 2 shows years ago when I was around 19. And I can tell you from experience, the last 2 weeks of prep when I was sub 10% body fat was the worst. I had zero energy for anything. I could barely even have a proper workout without feeling super fatigued by the end of it. Now, it was a great experience, but it just wasn't worth the health issues. I didn't even feel like having a girlfriend. I didn't even care about girls during that time because I just had zero drive. And this was because I was doing a shit ton of cardio while being on super low calories. I'm sure by the end of it, I was on 0 carbs and 1,000 calories under my maintenance. So from that point on, I decided not to compete again. If you want to get shredded and diced, just know that you're going to be running on low energy and your sex drive may suffer. So number 3 is you can end up feeling very guilty for eating bad or too much food because you're scared to put the weight back on. So every shredded guy or gal I know has this issue. So imagine you've gone down to such a good state where your abs are popping, you have the striations in the muscles, you've worked so hard to get there, so the last thing you want to do is mess it up and gain some weight back. And this is where you can actually end up developing an eating disorder. Honestly, you have to be so careful, and you just have to ensure that you have a stable mind. You can develop this unhealthy relationship with food where you think having a pizza or a burger will make you put all that weight back on by the next morning. Honestly, this isn't a joke, and I know a lot of people who go through this. Like, even I go through this myself. Say I have a pizza, then I end up feeling guilty, and then I believe I've already put that weight back on. Once you have gone to a very lean stage, you will do anything to stay there because of social media pressure, your own pressure, your friends' pressures. And in your mind, you think that the only way I can sustain this is by never eating junk food again or by keeping your calories low. Now, from this, you can end up developing an eating disorder, or you can go on a binge and gain all that weight back if you've restricted yourself too much and developing a bad relationship with food. So guys, before you get to a very lean stage, just bear this in mind and make sure you're mentally ready for this and you won't feel guilty for having that one-off cheat meal or going out for a drink and so on. And that brings me on to the next one, which is your social life can really suffer. So if you have goals of losing weight and achieving this lean, shredded look, then it's probably not the best of ideas to go out every single week with your friends to dinners, parties, social gatherings, where you may be influenced or tempted to eat or drink something out of your calories and macros. Because if you do this weekly, then you're not going to get anywhere with your fitness goals, especially if all your friends do is drink. You're also going to be tempted to drink, then one drink quickly becomes 5, then it becomes 10, then after that you crave this processed junk food and it just goes downhill from there. So the only way to avoid this is to take yourself out of the situation and say no to going out. But then if these are the only friends you have, then your social life can really suffer. You end up being that boring person who just stays at home, stick to his calories, goes to work, goes to the gym, because you need to optimize sleep, optimize nutrition to get to your goals. This can honestly have an impact to your social and family life if they don't really understand where you're coming from and why you're doing this. I've actually been through this before, and I ended up getting FOMO, and it becomes a lonely road. Know that by focusing on your goals, some sacrifices will have to be made, and this being one of the sacrifices. That you have to miss out on some outings with friends and with family, especially if your goal is to get sub 10% body fat. You constantly want to get leaner and leaner because what you may have may never be good enough. When you have this progressive mindset, you constantly want to get better and better. Also meaning that you may also want to get leaner and leaner until you have literally 0% body fat. Now this is a trap you can easily fall into if you're not careful. You have to understand to do this, you need to drop calories even more and possibly increase your movement even more. And this can be very unsustainable and detrimental to both your mental and physical health. In all of these scenarios, I would suggest, unless you're prepping for a competition, then to not go under 10% body fat and stick to the 12 to 15% range. This is the most optimal for both your mental and physical health. You will have enough energy during the day and everything will be firing on all cylinders. Guys, remember the goal is to maintain a healthy body fat and body weight for longevity. I also want to mention that I am now taking on a few clients to work personally with online, where I will help and guide you to build your best physique. There's limited slots available, so if you're someone who is serious about changing, then apply using the form below. Link is in the description. And if you have no money, then join my free community where you will get access to my free training and nutrition guides. Again, link is in the description. Guys, if you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, then do me a favor and smash the like button. And if you're new to the channel, then do me another favor and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to know how to get shredded for summer, then I recommend watching this video next. And remember, stay natty, stay clean,